Hey friends and family, coming at you on the 1st of July 2015. Really, thank you so much everyone for your comments and responses to the Chris Squire tribute and the video after that. I did add a annotation for folks who just I have a it seemed to bother them that I have an opinion about topographic oceans. I find it baffling. I work with it myself, and that's why I'll say this, because I try to stay conscious of it. I find it baffling at this point in life about opinions, how difficult man has with opinions. Well, first off, we know what opinions are. They're subjective. They're not a base, they're not a rock, they're not something concrete. It's something that is formulated within each mind of the person who states the opinion. This we understand, and yet people have such difficulty with opinions, and yet it's understood that we can't possibly have the same opinion. Baffling to me. I just always work on it, being conscious, when I have, you encounter people all the time that you don't agree with, but to become aware of why it pricks you, that's something that I do. When someone says something that pricks me, that I find myself starting to take personally or being irritated by, I explore that. Rather than get upset about what they said, it's like, well, what's going on with me? Why is this sparking something? What is it really about? That's how I think opinions can be helpful in the process of self-discovery, if it's something that you're interested in. I know I am. So yeah, I've listened to Topographic Oceans a number of times. I haven't since I made the video because I've been busy, and a few folks have, pointed the side for, and that's probably the side that I like. But I can't remember it. I remember almost all the other Yes albums. I can hear them in my head. Not Tornado so much, but everything Drama and past that, I can play those records in my head because the music is so memorable. So the little part of Topographic Oceans that I can sort of remember in my head, it must be side 4. I'll get to it. But I wanted to say that about opinions because it's just baffling to me how quickly people forget. It's like, it's like the brain goes into chaos because people are confronted with words that they don't like, or, you know what I mean? I think it's something to think about, and work on. I know I work on it. Anyway, as a result of working, even though I need to proceed cautiously, the one thing that I enjoyed working for is to buy records, and I love music, but records as an item of distraction is my favorite. And so I bought a few records this weekend, and these last few days I should say. One I just added to my Yes collection because I didn't have this and wasn't going to buy it beforehand. It's been sitting in the store for years, actually, in Drastic in the used section, so I went ahead and bought it today for $5.98. 90125 Live, the solos. So this is where you get to hear the Chris Squire Amazing Grace going into the Fish bass solo. Wonderful. It's wonderful. Overall, the album is good, and it's in great shape, almost new, so I'm glad I got that. While I was at Drastic, I picked up a new sealed copy. It's an unofficial reissue, but when compact disc first arrived on the scene, I was one of those people who gave away and sold records as they bought CDs, not really thinking it through. And one that I sold that I regret was this. I just replaced it today. Kraftwerk's Computer World. Love this album. Played it to death when it came out. This is an unofficial reissue. I wasn't expecting this. It's on blue marble vinyl. It was a sealed. copy in the store. So kind of a nice little surprise to open it up, and it plays well. It's a good pressing. So I love Kraftwerk. Oh, also, you know, it's no surprise that there are several people who have just discovered me, probably through the Chris Squire video. A couple folks have been asking me and suggesting music, and I've let them know, maybe a little smugly, that I already know about the music. I want to explain, because I don't mean to offend anyone or piss anyone off with, you know, when people tell me about music and I say, oh, I know about that, you know, that feels good. It feels good to be able to share that, yeah, I know about this music. And part of it does go back to the whole issue of race perception and the history of it in this country. You know, I'm a human being, you know, pure and simple. And yet, because of being African American, or whatever you want to call me, being dark brown, when certain people come across me and what it is I'm about, music and all kinds, you know, the response is, oh, wow, a black guy that listens to, yes, oh, wow, you listen to cool music, you know, and, you know, they may mean it to be complimentary, and I take it complimentary, but it also reflects this thing that I keep bringing up in my videos, which is this disparity in perception of people, you know. I mean, I'm a human being, you know, why wouldn't I like yes? Of course I understand, because of culture, you know what I'm saying? There is such a thing as African American culture, black culture, versus Midwestern culture, rock culture, you know, homogenized white American culture. Yeah, there are differences. Those differences in our backgrounds do not equate to differences in equality. That's the thing that needs to get cleared up, because there's a lot of things about people that are different that we don't like about different tribes, you know, but that doesn't mean that the other tribe is less than, okay? So just wanted to say that in response to I think it was a guy named Kyle was one, and there's been more than the Kyle asked me, well, have you heard of this? And I recommend this, and well, if you like that, you'll like this. And it's like, yeah, I just love being able to say, yeah, I already know about it. I got it. I've made videos about it. I've made over 1,000 videos, and I've covered all those musicians. The Aristocrats, I don't have anything on vinyl. I have the musicians individually, and they're about to play in Omaha on July 18th. It's on my calendar. You know, I'm you know, the reality allowing it to be, I plan to be at the show, and hopefully we'll have the money to buy any vinyl that they have for sale. Those guys are great musicians. But yeah, Guthrie Govan and Marco Miniman and bass player Brian, great musicians. I also bought a couple of days ago, actually no, it was yesterday, I added these to my collection. I went down to Homer's and wanted to buy something and had to look through the markdowns, and even the markdowns are still expensive. But there was one there that's been in the store since it came out, which is in the 90s. Been waiting for the price to come down. It's obviously not going to come down any more than it did, so I went ahead and bought it yesterday. Oval. Systemish. This is on Thrill Jockey. Glitch Electronics is how this is described. I didn't know that it was on clear vinyl when I bought it, but that was again a nice surprise, you know. But this music is created primarily using compact discs that are damaged, or compact disc machines that are damaged, and using those glitches and problems as source material for making music. And I've had their first one on CD since it came out. Discount, I think that's the name of it. Really very interesting work. Oval. The other thing I got, there were several things I wanted, but I needed to keep the price down. So this one was below $20, and so I grabbed it. I knew it would be blues rocky, but this is one of those records that is collectible, and it has a connection to musicians that I collect. Ancient Greece, Women and Children First. This is a German pressing reissue, I believe. This came out originally in 1970 on Mercury Records. And it's produced, and most of the songs are written by John Weathers, who was the drummer in Eyes of Blue and Gentle Giant. Now, unlike his work in those bands, this is more straight ahead, which is the story behind the songs, which is why he ended up working with the band, because he needed an outlet for his more straight ahead material. The bands he was playing drums for are more proggy. But this has a nice edge and charisma to it. Morty, the singer, it's true. His delivery pulls you in. This is good, This is the kind of album that, for many years, I would not have bought because of the bluesiness. And, I've come a long way, baby. From those silly attitudes. Really enjoyed it. Some other records sitting out that I've been playing. I just put this on today. Telegraph Avenue. This is a reissue. A band from Peru from the 70s. The story behind this band is rather interesting. Having to even do with politics. Look them up online. The story is on Discogs. This is a very cool album. It's a strange mixture. You can tell these guys are not... I mean, it's like... To me, it's like, wow, this is a really different blend of influences. Psych, folk, pop. Very cool. Telegraph Avenue. Here's one that I bought years ago that was marked down. Truck. And I knew by the titles that it was like, this is going to be so-so. I mean, the very first song is Country Woman, and sure enough, we put it on, and that's what you hear. But a couple things about this band. The guitar player has a great fuzz tone. Truck Tracks is the name of the band, Truck. This came out in 1970 originally. And it turns out that the drummer of the band was the second lead singer of the band, Captain Beyond. And side 2 of this, it gets going. Starts off with the song Yellow Cab Man. Really good, actually. The first side is like, ugh. Side 2, the whole side, really good. Psychedelic. Yeah. So I'm stoked about this. One of the bands I'm in is a punk rock band. Punk in that we come from the hardcore punk scene of the 80s. We play very aggressively. There is a bit of a social commentary in some of our songs. But we have a show this Friday I'm psyched about. The West Coast band Weirdos is back together, and they're finally playing Omaha, and we're opening the show along with a couple other bands. But this is the Weirdos' second album, Condor. And the Weirdos have said themselves that they're not punk. They're a art band from Hollyweird that were embraced by the punks because they're just so aggressive and so good. And this is a great album, Condor. Playing with the Weirdos. Yeah. Here's an album that I've had that I just rediscovered this week, and I've been playing it on repeat because it's like, oh, now I get it. And some records are like that. I'll admit it, it's like I kind of like it at first, but then I'll have a revelation sometimes years later. Deftones, Diamond Eyes. Wow. What a badass band. I like them, but it's like it didn't quite... Some things take a while to come into focus to me, you know what I mean? And this, like, wow. I'd love to play it and rock out with you. Rocket Skates, damn. Well, almost the whole album, But Rocket Skates is a badass jam. And I love Chino Moreno. His vocal delivery, at first I didn't understand. Now it's like, wow. And they have something new coming out, apparently. Deftones, badass band. Really been enjoying this week. Oh, that's another comment I'll respond to. I had shown a black metal album, and a response was that the person said they think I would like and should check out a lot of other black metal bands. Well, I have and I do. I love metal. I don't buy it, and so that's why you don't see me show it. But the I would say the majority of the best known black metal bands, everyone from Burzum to Mayhem to Gorgoroth to you know, I can't even get them mixed up, you know. I am very interested in that music. Some of it is kind of cartoony to me, but like the person said, there is some really good black metal, but metal in general. I like all kinds of music. I like heavy music, so it's not just the black metal I like. The histrionic, high-voiced type of metal has been my least favorite of the genres. I like the growling. I like the playing is what I'm interested in. The kind of cartoony. So, for example, I have no Dream Theater because that, even though those guys are great musicians, that music strikes me like a comic book, which is not bad, but I'm not interested. So I think I explained that pretty good now. I respect Dream Theater and bands that have kind of that histrionic type of singing, but the singing puts me off. Here's something I played last night that's just a fantastic album. Les McCann's Layers. I think it's the first album where he plays synthesizers. This is a groover. Very wonderful. And the mellow tracks on here are just, fantastic. Played this first thing this morning. Map, Fever Dream. My autographed copy, autographed by Tatsuya Nakatani, the percussionist on here, along with Mary Halverson and Ruben Radding. These are some improvisations, trio improvisations. It's just very good. You know, it's hard to describe, but if you like improvisation and you're interested in sound, these folks really work together well. You know, it's like you let what you're doing take over and then things can happen. And this is a good example of that. Map. Played this, Patrick Leeson. He was the synthesizer specialist who worked with Herbie Hancock when Herbie Hancock started to get into electric music. Rainbow Delta is one of Patrick Leeson's solo albums, and even though there's a datedness to the patches that he uses, I love this album. I love it. Really instrumental and very melodic. Youssou N'Dour. I believe he's from Senegal. Peter Gabriel was helpful in bringing him to international attention. The song they duet on, Shaking the Tree, is on here. They do a couple of duets, but this is a really good pop album. That's what this is. It's African pop music, I guess you'd say. The Lion. Love it. Wapasso from France, Salaam Bo. Interesting, more folk than rock. Really no drums, but psychedelic. Hard to describe. Obscure. Yeah, it's like, you know, it just makes you wonder where did this music, partially classical, but weird. Wapasso, Salaam Bo. This is really neat. Okay, show that. Here's a collectible that I pulled and played and really enjoyed the most I have ever enjoyed it for the first time. Ultima Spiaggia. And this is a project that involved several different Italian musicians to kick off apparently the start of this record label called Ultima Spiaggia. I read up about this, and it's apparently kind of an audio play about a man who's been in a car accident and what is going on in his mind while he's while he's out. Apparently rather collectible. I love the artwork. Very wild. Ultima Spiaggia. I don't know if okay, here's one that I bought a few days ago, and I honestly cannot remember if I spoke about it. I don't think I did. This is a reissue of a Brazilian psychedelic pop album that has not been issued anywhere except for Brazil, and that was 40 years ago. Alsubalensa, I'm not sure I'm saying his name right. Mojado de Suor. This is fantastic. This is the kind of album that I look for. There's a magical quality that, even though the album starts off kind of sing-songy and simple, almost like the first song has kind of a childlike melody, even from the beginning, just the way it's coming down, and it just increases as the album plays. The sessions and what this man was doing, he caught something. He caught a vibe. It's on here. This is apparently really rare to find a real copy of it. When I saw that they had a copy of the reissue at Almost Music, I didn't hesitate for a moment. Alsubalensa. Highly recommend this to anyone, any kind of listener. This is, wow, this is really good. I got another one that day. I bought that one, and what was the other one? Let me see, let me find it. So yeah, I have gone back to what I love doing, which is being able to buy a few records. I bought another album. It's not coming up. There's just a ton of records down here. I'll go a little bit further, showing you what's in the stack, because I'm going to put these away. It's really been building up. I love John McLaughlin, and this is a good album. John McLaughlin with the One Truth Band, Electric Dreams. Late 70s, I believe, early 80s release of his. 1979, this is really good. Fusiony, really good. Matching Mole, Robert Wyatt, Canterbury. That whole school of music is just some of the best music in the world to my ears, and so I'm always listening to something out of this catalog, almost always. Listened to all of side one the other day. The first song on this, Oh Caroline, just a gorgeous, sad little love song. Breakup song. Matching Mole. Fantastic. Happy to say that, you know, these people, Bill McCormick, the bass player on here, he's in a couple of groups on Facebook, and I talk to him, you know, we're friends, you know, it's fantastic. You know, I never knew that this would be happening, that these musicians that have brought so much joy to my life, especially starting in my teens, would become friends of mine in my adult years. It's great. Wozniak. This is a private press synthesizer album. It's just cool. Anyone that has this album will tell you, it's just this guy. I don't know why he didn't make more albums. It's very, very luscious. Very cool. Electro poppy, but not too pop. So it's original. Woz. Thinking about Chris Squire, of course, still. I played this all the way through a couple times. Squacket, the album that he made with Steve Hackett, another one of my favorite musicians of all time. Autographed by Steve Hackett. This was a gift from a VC member who lives in Singapore, Gerald. If you happen to see this, Gerald, thank you so much for sending this to me. This is a fantastic album. If you like Yes, and you haven't heard this yet, this is excellent. And you hear some of that signature Chris Squire bass playing, as well as his, as people have been pointing out, and I keep forgetting to mention, his incredible vocals. Yes, he was a choir boy. It shows. His vocals were such an integral part of the magic of Yes. I have had these forever and hadn't played them, so I pulled them. And they're kind of just okay, but pretty decent, so I'm going to keep them. Sky, the band Sky. It's like, you know, I always want them to be more, not so middle of the road sounding. Good musicians. But I'm going to keep these. Cadmium. Because I found these all like super cheap. Sky. Which one is this? Number 3 is this? Which one this is? This is the one you see the most. Here's number 3. Sky number 3. And Sky the Great Balloon Race. I am going to make room on my shelf. These are going in the closet, making room for some of these other records, because I have to do that. I just am always running out of room. You know, I could talk forever, because I've just got a ton of great records on here. Here's another one. The official reissue of Small Faces' Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. Quintessential British psych pop. Fantastic album. This is my music. This is the music I grew up on. Here's one, Anywhere. A great collaboration between the guy from Mars Volta, Mike Watt, some other folks, I forget who they are. Anywhere. Kind of raga-like, a little bit. Psychedelia. This is a green vinyl. Anywhere. Really good. Yeah, I've been rocking these records. Even played some reggae. Bunny Wailer. My favorite Bunny Wailer I have on CD. This one, I was even thinking that I don't know, I really like this. You know, I was thinking about trading it, but I'm gonna keep this. It's kind of on the commercial side, though. You know, Bunny's has some much better, more rootsy albums. And then I gotta show these, because Summertime, this album, even though it's not really a summertime album, for me, it reminds me of the summertime. Faust, So Far. It might be because that's when I got introduced to it at the end of the school year. I started spending a lot of time with my friend that I had met that school year in high school, who turned me on to Faust. I have an original copy here on Polydor, as well as the reissue Recommended Records. I love this album. This is out to be played. I haven't played it yet. Germ doing Terry Riley and Pierre Mariaton compositions. Anders Allen from Sweden helped me to obtain this. Thank you, Anders. I watched his most recent video where he found a Charles Mingus test pressing. Wow. Okay, last things. I keep saying that, don't I? Anathema. I was talking earlier about metal and prog and stuff. Anathema is an example of a band where musically I like this much more than I like the vocals. The vocals are just on the edge of just being, I don't know, you know, it's like, I love the anthemic, sweeping grandeur of the music. You can do without those vocals. So I'll just end by saying, once again, about opinions, folks, it's like, please, it's like, why should we have problems with other people's opinions when it's just a fact of the matter that we all have them and we all can't have the same ones, right? Right? So everything's cool then, right? Right?